My daughter Molly died on May 17th, 2012. She was a pretty typical normal child. On her first day of kindergarten, she and her twin sister and their older brother went to school, and I got a call shortly thereafter that she had collapsed at school. By the end of the week, we found out that she had pulmonary hypertension and she was actually in right heart failure. She suffered a cardiac arrest and ended up on ECMO, which is heart-lung bypass, life support. And by the following Wednesday, she was flown out to Pittsburgh to be evaluated for heart and lung transplant. During that time, we found out that she actually suffered a stroke as a result of the cardiac arrest, and she lost the ability to walk and talk and function normally. So once she was medically stable with the pulmonary hypertension, we returned to Delaware, and she was in an inpatient rehab facility for 3 months, where she learned to walk again with a walker and to talk a little bit and, live life. She was not eligible for transplant due to the fact that she had had the stroke and some other issues as well. So my hope was that we would get her rehabbed enough that she would become eligible, and unfortunately that didn't happen. So she went into, continued to be in right heart failure, and in May she passed away. You think a child starting their first day of kindergarten is the beginning of the rest of their lives, and it changed things for our whole family. Well, at the time, Kate and Ryan stayed here in Delaware and were cared for by my mom while my husband and I were out in Pittsburgh. So I was out of the home for a total of 6 months, taking care of Molly. So it was difficult for them to be starting kindergarten in 2nd grade and not have their family. We had a lot of support from family and friends, from the kids' school and our church, and just did the best that we could. We miss her a lot. Molly and Kate's 10th birthday is coming up, so that is a unique challenge because we have to celebrate Kate, but yet we miss Molly. So it's hard as a family to to grieve and miss someone and know that you still have a life to live. And so we've worked really hard to try and let Kate and Ryan especially know that they do have other lives ahead of them, and that it's okay to smile and have fun and still miss Molly. Grief in children looks different than it does in adults. Kate and Ryan have very different grieving styles. My son tends to hold everything inside. He doesn't want to deal with it, and he doesn't like to talk about it, and he shows his grief and anger a lot of times. And it can be very difficult as a parent to deal with that, especially when I'm grieving myself. So it's helped me to be able to see that. Kate has said things like she feels as though half of her is missing because her twin sister is gone, and that she doesn't want to grow up and do things without Molly. And that's hard to hear as a parent. So I have to encourage her that, she has her life to live and she needs to do that. I've formed a foundation, the Miracles for Molly Dunn Foundation, and we support the palliative care team at Nemours AI DuPont Hospital for Children. We were involved with the palliative care team before Molly died and after. They've provided us bereavement services, which has been helpful, extraordinarily helpful. I always say that if it hadn't been for that team, that I don't think that we would have gotten through all this intact. You know, that it's hard, it's challenging to, you know, have 2 young children and to lose a child. So I've started the foundation because I realize that it's important that families have this support, and that siblings especially have support that's specific to them. My kids, you know friends, classmates that have lost a grandparent or a pet, or, you know, have had other losses, but it's not very often that you hear of someone losing a brother or sister, and they feel very isolated and alone. And so I want them to know that there are other kids that have lost a brother or sister, and to know that, you know, what they're feeling is normal, and you know, to give them the life skills to, you know, move on from this and to continue to live their lives. You know, there's days where I don't necessarily want to get out of bed. You know, it's too hard, and you know, this gives me a reason to do so, and you know, to know that something good can come from something so horrible.